Hello and welcome to Tell Your Story 2023. My name is Consuelo Meehan. I will be your host this season. Hopefully, you guys have been tuning in and enjoying so far. We've got 5 good interviews up. And today we want to welcome Kristy Hyde to the platform. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. What side of the country are you on today?
I am in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay. So you're an Ohio native, so am I.
Well, actually, I'm originally from North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
And
I've been
you
in
moved
Ohio
to
for like 12 years.
12 years? Okay, so you're there to stay pretty much.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. You still got some living to do, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So, again, thank you for coming on. Definitely want to start by introducing yourself to everybody this morning.
So I'm Kristy Hyde. I am a literacy coordinator at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. As I mentioned, I'm originally from North Carolina. I've been in Ohio for 12 years. I am also a local children's book author. So I have self-published 6 books, and it's been such an amazing experience. I'm very passionate about children, literacy, reading, all those things. So I work out a lot in the community, engaging with different organizations, just trying to promote literacy and family engagement.
That's excellent. Kudos to you. We are definitely in a really strange time, especially where education is concerned. And so that's great to hear that you're working with kids. That's a passion of mine in a different aspect. But what got you started in the field?
Well, at the hospital, I got promoted to be an asthma educator, and I realized that I didn't know a lot about asthma, even though my background, I have a master's degree in health education, but that's very broad. And I kind of mainly focused on like nutrition, health, wellness. So I didn't know a lot about asthma. So I thought to myself, well, I should create an educational resource that I can use to learn myself, but also to have families be more engaged and know more about the diagnoses, their quality of life, and how to manage asthma. So that's kind of how I got started. It was a big hit with the hospital, and then other hospitals across the country wanted the books. And so I decided to do different health topics that relate to personal things in my family or my friends, and I started writing books on health topics. So
That is wonderful, and it is very important for, and most parents do this, but when it comes to like learning disabilities and certain disabilities, a lot of parents shy away from that. I actually, I'm not sure if you did watch, but I have a series, a cartoon that actually represents kids that have disabilities on YouTube. And so it's so great that I actually, you responded and then we get to have this conversation this morning. So how do you talk to kids? What's your advice when a parent gets a diagnosis that they may not um, believe in? A lot of people don't believe in learning disabilities or ADHD or autism and things like that. What is your advice about those situations?
well, initially, I think it all begins with a fear of their child being stigmatized as different, and they
Mhm.
don't want them to go through that with their peers in the community, wherever. So, with that fear, they don't want to acknowledge it. So, my approach is just to make them understand it in simpler terms, and how it will not change your child. Like, your child can do anything other kids can do, like, and so it kind of makes them feel more at ease when you kind of explain it in simpler terms, let them express their concerns, follow up with information to help them better understand, and they begin to kind of trust you as that point person when they have those ideas and those thoughts that are negative towards what their child is dealing with.
Absolutely, because it's definitely harder for the child going
Mhm.
through it than it is the parent. And so sometimes we have to be able to relate to our kids. There's so many different levels to disabilities with children.
Mhm.
Sometimes you find out when you're pregnant and you make a decision if you want to carry. And then sometimes it is developed over time. And so those are so many different important pieces. And so when you wrote your first book, um, how well was it received? When was it a scary process for you? What have you like learned, or what would you tell other people that are
Mhm.
trying to just start that first sentence?
Right. No, it wasn't scary. I feel like God wanted me to do that. So it actually came really easily. Like I had a dream about the story and I literally just wrote it. And I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. I did it again to help families and to help kids, not to like make money or fame or whatever. So those things never crossed my mind that it wouldn't be quote unquote accepted or popular. I just wanted my patients to have something to help them understand. And then when it took off, I'm like, oh, wow, because all the other families, they were like, oh, I want that book. Like that book helped me. I'm an adult and I didn't know this. So it just took off from there.
Yeah, it's because it's a needed piece of literature,
Mhm.
especially for our race, for kids, for children of color,
Yes.
in our community. And literacy is a big issue, and the younger they start to read, the better.
Mhm.
For me, my child, he had some issues reading. It's not because he didn't understand it, it's because he didn't want to. So we were like, read, read, read. And then finally he was like, I know how to read. So we got all this pushback, and I'm thinking he doesn't know how to read, and I'm feeling bad as a mom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's not reading. So if you have a parent like me and I come to you and I'm like, my son isn't reading, what should I do? What steps should I take? Is there autism involved? As a parent, I'm afraid. What advice would you give me in that situation?
Well, I always start with different reading tips for parents. So just starting out reading together 10 to 15 minutes, kind of let the child guide you, pointing out the pictures, talking about what's going on in the story, because kids, their attention span is very short. So
Mhm.
they have to be invested in what's going on in order
Yeah.
to really enjoy it, period. And so as you're doing that, you will be able to kind of point out if there's something that may be underlying, like they're not understanding sounds or letters or things like that. If you notice those things, the more time you spend with the child, different books that you read, then you can talk to your PCP, primary care physician, about that and maybe get the child tested if you're really concerned. But it really starts with those basics and getting the child involved, feeling like they are engaged, feeling like they're spending that time with you as well. And you guys are sharing that experience together and learning the story together.
Absolutely, that's important, and plus it gives parents and children time to bond,
Yes.
especially even allowing them to go to a book fair that they have at
Yes.
their school and
Mhm.
be able to make the choices of the kind of books that they want to read. And at a smaller age, those picture books are very important,
Mhm.
because it gives them color and things like that. And
Yes.
so those are things that makes a child interested in those books. And
Absolutely.
so, yes. And so, name the six that you said you had six books out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
let's get into the six books and the titles of each of
Okay.
them.
Okay, so the first I mentioned is asthma, and the title is Peter's Perfect Pipes. So pipes for lungs. The second book is on sickle cell disease, and it's
That's a good
called
one.
I'm No Different Than You, because it also focuses on a little bullying and things like that that's happening in the story. The third book is more so of a cultural book for Black and Brown boys, and it's called I Am Powerful, I Am Amazing, I Am a King. The fourth book is on anxiety, which is very, very personal to me because I suffer with anxiety. and it's called How to Tame My Busy Brain.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. And the fifth one is on nutrition. So teaching younger kids and parents like how to have healthy snacks, healthy meals, all those things. And it's called Strong and Healthy Like a Car.
I love that.
Yeah, so I
I
use the
love that.
analogy of a car, little kids love cars. So
Yeah, they do, especially boys,
yes,
especially boys.
absolutely. And my
Now,
last book, the
mhm.
newest one is talking to kids about dementia, and it's called Did I Upset Grandma?
Mm, I love that.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of nutrition, and I'm gonna put this one in your ear. Maybe you will elaborate and maybe want to write that seventh book about that. It just popped in my head. Maybe you should do one on gardening. I think that might be a good fit for you.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you. Mhm.
you're welcome. Yep, I think that would be a good fit for you. Because it's important. I used to garden when I was little. My family had a little garden. And my uncle had a huge garden, and so that's a good one for kids and teaching them about nutrition and gardening. And so, how long have you been teaching?
Well, I'm not necessarily a teacher. I'm not doing the asthma education anymore. I'm the literacy coordinator now. So
Oh,
I
okay.
I manage literacy programs within Cincinnati. I don't know if you've heard of Reach Out and Read, because it's a nationwide program. It takes place more so in the healthcare setting. So when your child goes to the doctor for an annual exam or a sick visit or something, the
Hmm.
doctor should be talking about early literacy, and your child should get a book at the end of the visit.
Oh,
That's
that's good.
yeah, that should be happening. So I manage that program, and then the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't, but I did hear of the one that you just mentioned. I did hear
Oh,
of that.
reach out
Yes.
and read. Awesome. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I manage the Imagination Library program, and that program promotes early literacy as well. And it's for kids that are birth to 5 years old. And each month they get one free book. And by the time they're five, they have a library of 60 books.
That is amazing. That is something that is so needed. All of this is needed because we want to try to educate kids as much as possible. And that's one of the reasons, and you probably have the same idea as far as teaching kids that everybody doesn't look like you,
Mhm.
everybody may not be like you. We're all different, and that's okay. And
Right.
that sounds like the message that you are trying to put out there. And it's a message that they need, like you said, because if they can get the education early,
Mhm.
it will stop some bullying, and they will be able to look at a child and say, "Oh, I already know because
Mhm.
I read this book by Kristy High."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so, as far as publishing your book, how's that journey been for you?
It's been rather easy since I decided to self-publish. So I do everything myself. I have a company that does my illustrations. They also do the layout and formatting of the book and help me put it onto Amazon. But I do use another platform that is able to get my books online with like Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, all of those avenues. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, and the thing about it is when you're doing something you love, and it's like so cliche, when you're doing something you love and you're trying to put a message out there, the money will come later.
Amen.
And it
Mhm.
may not be, you have to invest in yourself, and it may, take a while for the money
Yeah.
to come. It may take a while for people to read your information, but you just have to keep going. That's why what I do tell authors that do approach me, because they'll say that there's so many books out there. There's enough books for everybody
Yes.
to read. And it was one of the reasons I created this platform, because I wanted to bring attention to indie authors, especially during COVID when I started this, because we were at home like, how are we going to sell our books? We
Right.
can't get
Amen.
out. We can't go to the fairs, the art festivals, and everything that we do to speak to kids or public
Mhm.
speaking or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And so, is it just the hospitals or do you go into the schools as well?
The schools as well. So just yesterday, I have been planning it forever, but I planned a story time event with our mayor. So
Oh, I love
yes.
that.
Oh, it
That's
was so
wonderful.
amazing. Oh my gosh. So we went to one of the elementary schools and he came in, he read two books that are through like Scholastic, like Llama Llama Rose Pajama. I'm sure you heard of that. And
Mhm.
if you give a mouse a cookie. So he read those two to the kids. It was amazing. So yeah, I do school stuff, festivals, hospitals, anywhere. Mhm.
That is great. See, I am from Columbus, and so
Oh,
Cincinnati isn't too far. And so I ended up moving to Arizona about 4 years ago. I'm shy of
oh.
a 4 year anniversary, just because sometimes you just want a little bit of a change. And so I plan on getting back out there to speak to kids and things like that. My schedule hasn't allowed it yet, but it's coming. So when you're speaking to the children, what's your advice on authors coming out doing author visits and speaking to kids and doing speaking engagements?
Yeah, just absolutely be very engaging, be interactive. You want the kids to have fun as they're learning so they don't realize they're learning. And just listen
Exactly.
to them, talk with them, like just have fun, make it a fun experience.
Yeah, you definitely, like you said, those little ones can be very busy. Well,
Oh my
not
gosh,
can be, they
they
are very
are.
busy. They are very busy. And you have to keep them occupied
Yes.
and entertained. And so that's a wonderful thing. And so what is your next, are you going to continue your series on that? It's more like a health, it sounds like, and
Mhm,
health.
mhm.
Are you going to continue?
Yes, that's my goal for however long. Yeah. So I take suggestions from, whoever wants to give me a suggestion for a topic, like the dementia. My grandma had dementia, but then I had a friend that reached out over the holidays last year, and her niece and nephew was struggling because their grandma has dementia. They didn't understand what was going on. So she was like, would you mind writing a book about this? And I'm like, sure. So that's where that came about. So yeah, I'm open.
Well, kids have had to deal with a lot, and we look at it, like I said, we think of it on our level, but we have to think of it on a child's level too. They
Yes.
didn't understand that why they had to be home and the anxiety piece and
Hmm.
even depression. People don't realize kids can have those thoughts.
Yes.
Especially teenagers going through different situations and things. Do you think that you will expand that far to start to reach out to teenagers at the high school age or middle school age?
I kind of do a little middle school, but I want to stay focused with the smaller kids because I feel like that's where it starts. That's where the early
Mhm,
conversations start, and it will
mhm.
help build upon as they get older, so they can be the best version of themselves when they get older.
Yeah, absolutely. Teenagers go through a really weird period like we all have, all of
Mhm.
us have.
Yes.
Um, but that's something that you may want to think about, further down the line to
Mhm.
see if there is a need for teen, books. And there may be a opening for that
Yeah.
down the line for them to get some information as well. Because I imagine that when you're that age as a teenager and you're still bullying, then there was
Mhm.
something missed
Right.
along the way. And we have to be realistic as parents. We're not our children's only influence.
Right.
There's so many different influences out there. So even if it's just picking up a book, that they could get some resources and information that they need as well that would be
Yes.
helpful for them at
Yes.
that level. So that's definitely something that you may want to consider down the line. So that's great. So where will you be at next? Do you have
Um,
any events coming up?
Yes, I do. I have a health festival next Saturday. And so
Okay.
I will have my books out there and also be promoting the Imagination Library and helping parents sign their kids up in real time, like helping them go through the application process.
Now, with summer approaching, what do you suggest? Because I remember when I was little, there was a program at the library that we did every summer,
Mhm.
where we got rewards for reading so many books and things
Yes,
like that.
yes.
So, are those programs still in existence? Because I've kind of been out of touch for a while.
Yes, absolutely. We have here with our library system, they're doing 1,000 book challenge right now. So they have
Okay.
this cute little paper you kind of check off as you read. And when you reach certain milestones, you get like a little prize. You give a sheet to the library, they stamp
Hmm.
it, they give you a prize, and then you keep going. So yeah, all kinds of fun reading activities with the library. That's what most parents here do through the library.
That sounds good because, the reason I asked because my kids are older now, and we used to do some stuff like that when they were younger. But my oldest is in her 20s and my son's in his teens, and now it's sports camps in the summertime and those type of things. So that's important for kids, and parents to know that these programs still exist,
Mhm,
and to
mhm.
go out there and get active, and get your kids reading, as much as possible. And even if they can't do it during the day, maybe on the weekend, go with them to the library to get some good books and information. And so let us all know where everything is, where they can find all your books, your platform, your website, everything.
Well, website is just my name, KristyHigh.com, and all my books are housed there, all the things I have coming up, the different things that I do, because I am also an author coach for new
Okay.
authors. So everything's housed there. As for my social media, I'm on Facebook as Kristy High, and I'm on Instagram as Kristy J High.
Okay.
Mm,
Well, Kristy, thank you so much for coming on. You guys
welcome.
go pick up Kristy's books. These are important things for us to be teaching our kids. Literacy is important. Teaching them about health is important, nutrition, and all the good stuff that's out there to feed our kids wholesome, positive
Yes.
information. And also to reach out to Kristy if you want some information about publishing and any type of author coaching. And all your websites will be listed as well.
Thank you.
And so, is there anything else that you want the viewers to know?
Just don't be afraid. Like step out on faith. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to start a business, start a business. Like just do it.
Just do it. Yes, absolutely. I'm a person that feels like you never stop learning. I don't care how old you are.
Yes.
So for me, my journey is opening and up to learn. We never know everything. There's so much good information out there, and so many resources, and so much networking. And
Right.
so this was a great opportunity. I really enjoyed talking to you this morning,
Thank
and I
you.
look forward to actually getting your books. And I have ordered some. I usually order my everybody on my platform. I usually get their books. I don't always have time to read all of them,
Mhm.
but I do get to them. So thank you so much, Kristy, for coming on this morning. Well, afternoon for you. And I look forward to all your endeavors. And I look forward to your gardening book.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Kristy, hi.